So here let's finish up 2.3. Given a real-world problem, model a linear equation to fit it. So first, identify known quantities. So what is the problem telling you? What kind of data do we have? Number 2, assign a variable to represent the unknown quantity. So we're going to say let x equal such and such. Number 3, if there is more than one unknown quantity, find a way to write the second unknown in terms of the first. You may also do a system of linear equations. Sometimes that's a little easier to do. We'll work with that also at times. And we're going to mix that in. That comes a little later, and we mix it in with like quadratics also. Like cost and revenue, kind of how they relate. For example, equilibrium would be a science application. So number 4, write an equation interpreting the words as mathematical operations. So you're going to translate that. And number 5, solve the equation. Be sure the solution can be explained in words, including the units of measure. So you're going to add some meaning and context and interpret your answer. That's really important for this course. When you go on to your pre-calc, whether it's business pre-calc or the science pre-calc, you're going to need to do that often. So here we have modeling a linear equation to solve an unknown number problem. Number 1, find a linear equation to solve for the following unknown quantities. One number exceeds another number by 17, and their sum is 31. Find the two numbers. Okay, so we are going to pluck out the given information. So we have one number exceeds another number by 17. So we're going to just let x equal one of the numbers and let x plus 17 equal the other number, one of them. So together they're going to add up to 31. So I'm going to do x plus 17 equals 31. And then just solve algebraically. So, just pause the video, go ahead and do that really quick. I'll write up the answer. So now here I've done all the algebra. We have 2x plus 17 equals 31. Then 2x equals 14. Divide both sides by 2 and we get x equals 7. Well, x was one of the numbers, so we would write that down, but then the other one is 17 plus 7, so that one's going to be 24. So the x plus 17 equals 24. So then in the last step is to write your answer in a sentence. So you would just write the two numbers are 7 and 24. There's not much interpretation going on there with this one, but just to show you the basic shell. So we have a few different parts happening, and what I look for, usually I grade this like on a sort of a rubric, and this would be like worth a point. This would be a point. This, the intro part, let x equal such and such, and then writing the equation, or sometimes there's a standard formula, you want to write that down, that would be a point. Sometimes you just need to hash out like a diagram or something. This is solving inside there. That part would be a point. Just writing your answers numerically, and then you have your final sentence with appropriate units and meaning. That would be a point. So usually there are 5 points. Sometimes it can vary depending on the length of the problem and complexity. It might be anywhere up to 7 points if there's multiple parts. And if they're really short ones without much context, they're usually less, or part A and part B. So now for number 2, we're going to set up a linear equation to solve a real-world application. So it has a little more context surrounding it. One thing that's important to know is usually like the total, whether it's like a cost or whatever, equals the startup or the fixed, sometimes we call it fixed cost, initial component, whatever it might be, it's not always money, but plus the variable cost per item. So this is generally like the quantity times the money. So I'll write that there. So just, you might want to reference that. So in this particular problem, we have 2 cell phone companies that offer different packages. This is probably kind of an old problem nowadays, but company A charges a monthly service fee of $34 plus 5 cents per minute talk time. Company B charges a monthly service fee of $40 plus a 4 cent per minute talk time. So keep in mind that the cents are actually written as dollars, so it's as a decimal 0.04, because we want to keep everything the same units, and we'd be a decimal off if we didn't do that. So the other thing too with this problem, it is, I mean, mostly everybody has like unlimited data now or something, but you can translate this over to, you know, renting a car or anything where you have that fixed fee, like you just have a flat rate to begin with, but then you're adding on after a certain amount. That happens pretty often. So we're going to write a linear equation that models the packages offered by both companies. So we're going to have company A, and we're going to put these in y equals mx plus b slope-intercept form. So usually the fixed cost up here is the intercept. Sometimes people write that, you know, initial, but I'm going to match it to the y equals mx plus b so you can see. So plan A, that total cost is going to be 5 cents, so 0.05 per minute. So I'm going to use M for minute. I should label my variables here too. I have to do that. Plus my $34 startup. So because I threw some variables down, I really have to label them. So let A equal total cost plan A. And let M equal number of minutes. All right. And then I could use like y with a subscript too if I wanted. And then I'm going to write the equation for B. You could actually do that. Why don't you just pause the video and do that? So now I have my 2 equations or models. So if I wanted to know how much it would cost for a certain number of minutes for plan A, I could just plug in. So it's like we really just made a formula based on some data. So if I have 0 minutes, it's just going to be the $34, which doesn't really make sense. But if, like, say I have 100 minutes and so on and so forth, I would be able to figure out the total cost. So now we're going to move up to part B. The average number of minutes used each month is 1,160. Which company offers the better plan? Because, you know, A has a lower kind of startup fee, but it has higher per minute. So we have to balance that out with how many minutes we're going to use and which would be less overall in the long run. Maybe if you don't use very many minutes, you might want A, but let's see what happens. So here I've plugged in the 1,160 minutes in for M, the number of minutes, into model A. So A equals 0.05 times 1,160 plus 34. And I get $92 for that. So that's the total for A using that number of minutes. Now let's compare that to B, and I'll have you stop the video and go ahead and see what you come up with and then check it against mine. So now I got 86.4. Since it's dollars and cents, I'm going to add a zero there. So $86.40 for plan B using that same amount of minutes. So that looks like the better plan. So I would write, you know, B is better in this case. Something like that. That's fine. Now for part number C, or letter C, we have if the average number of minutes used each month is 420, which company offers the better plan? Now again, you're going to go ahead and that's going to be a video try it, and you go ahead and work that one out. So I worked out the math here. A comes out to be $55. Just plug in that 420 for M. Total cost for B in this case would be $56. So make sure you complete the question answering, you know, in a sentence. A is a little better. I mean, you don't have to be like elaborate, but don't just fill in and have the math there. Make sure you interpret it as well. And they're so close, it just makes me wonder, you know, what's the break-even point? So we could set these two equal to each other to see when they would actually be equal, and when, you know, it's going to have the same exact thing. So in this case, we would set the two equations equal to each other. So we have 0.05 m plus 34 equals 0.04 m plus 40. We can figure out m. Actually, I have to write an x by mistake. So used to writing x's. So we're just, you know, do the solving process, and we get 0.01 m equals 6. Divide both sides by 0.01. It's kind of the same as multiplying by 100. So we get m equals 600 minutes. So it would be 600 minutes would yield equal monthly statement. So make sure you write the sentence. I have here talk time of 600 minutes would yield equal monthly statement. So make sure you come full circle with that. So this ends part 2 of the video set. There's a few more problems that I'll go through. You may want to try them on your own depending on your familiarity, and then I'll go through them as well in the video. So one more part. So have a great day.